Hey Substack, it's Amelia. I'm back again to talk more about Famesick. I just finished re-listening to the book for the second time. If any of you have already reread the book, did you also cry more the second time or like get more sad the second time around? Because it's like there's certain chapters where this time around I was just like, I'm gonna actually need to sit down for this one. I cannot be on my little hot girl walk for this. But today I'm going to talk about Act 2 of the book because I mainly discussed the first part of the book on the last Substack video thing. But Act 2, of course, was Not Yet a Woman. And it focused mainly on like the collapse of her health, like towards the end of Girls. And then, like, concurrently, like the collapse of her relationship with Jack and with Jenny. Really sad stuff for real. Her ability to describe the way her relationship with Jenny Connor fractures bit by bit until like the final blow is so well written. And it's just like, I feel like every girl has been in a relationship like this, but it's never really the plot of a movie or book. I also have never read a book or like, consumed any media actually that goes this much into detail of like someone's struggle with like chronic illness and like endometriosis. And for that matter, I've actually never really seen much media on like addiction to benzos besides of course the benzos addiction in the pit with the one hot guy that Santos does not like. Shout out. I feel like I really like the way Lena took the time to describe her physical pain and like the experience of that, and then the emotional pain of how that physical pain made the people in her life treat her or change how they acted around her. I think I would go crazy. Like, Jack, of course, is like, I just want to have a normal vacation. Why do I have to fly my girlfriend like back to the States for some surgery? Is this for real? And then like Jenny being like, girl, you already got your uterus removed. What do you mean this is still a thing? So, of course, she's describing all this pain that she's in and how she needs to take some time off of Girls, and that HBO is like, all right, well, we need you to go to another doctor so the insurance can believe women. And she's like, okay, no problem. I'll do whatever you want. Like, she's still in her people pleasing phase, even though no one's pleased. I mean, that is the saddest part about when you're a people pleaser, is like realizing like you're not good at it because we actually can't be in charge of that. When I found out that all the things I was doing to people please was actually kind of just like turning people off and pushing people away. No worries, no worries, no worries. But so she goes to the doctor who doesn't use like an ultrasound because it's not around, and just sticks fingers like inside of her as she screams like, please don't do that. And then he's like, listen, this is like one time I got a Brazilian wax before a family vacation to Mexico. What did I think was gonna happen? But I had shaved too recently, and the waxing lady was like, girl, this is gonna hurt. And I'm like, no, it's fine. And then it hurt so bad, I screamed. And she was literally like that Soul Cycle meme girl being like, we don't do that here. She was like, you actually need to disassociate and not react to me ripping this. Obviously, that's a microcosm of Lena's experience of like him sticking his fingers in, bursting the cyst. What? What do you mean bursting the cyst? I mean, have any of you gotten an IUD inserted? The way anyone has ever talked about that, and then to think like this cyst popping thing was probably more painful than that. I'm getting stressed just thinking about it. But when she writes the line, so she's going through all of that, right? And then we cut to her talking about like her situation with Jack in that moment. And she goes like, Jack thought perhaps I had found a loophole for how to stay in bed and ignore the real world, because she's like famous for liking to stay in bed and shutting out the world. She gets the surgery, finds out 37 lesions, and Jack looks at her and she describes like Jack being like, I'm so sorry you have to live with this, and I'm so sorry that I can't. And she was reflecting on how in the moment she was like, Jack finally like realized like, oh, I'm not lying or being dramatic. and he feels bad for making me feel that way. But now reflecting on it years later, she realizes in that moment Jack was like heartbroken and mad at himself for realizing like this is going to be her life and I am not going to let it be mine. That was definitely one of the big bummers of this part of the book. She also describes getting sick as like getting famous, which is kind of like in a musical where they say the word that is the name of the musical, where you're like, here's why it's called Famesick. But she's basically just breaking down that like being sick and being famous are both very isolating experiences. And what I really love listening to the book for the second time was just realizing like Lena really delivered on her classic thing, which is radical honesty to the point of like, whoa. And then she goes on to describe her deciding to get her uterus removed and how much society wouldn't let her. Of course, classic tale as old as time. But she's 32. All these doctors are saying, you can't make this decision. You're not thinking straight. And she's like, I am literally not able to function right now. Even if I did keep my uterus and had a baby while literally being broken, I wouldn't be a good mother in that situation, and I can adopt. And she's in this place where she's like, I don't need like this baby to be like my DNA. I really would like to just not be in pain and be able to, walk and leave my house. And it's like, why did she have to like go under psych eval for saying that? Also, she's talking about how guilty she feels like in her relationship with Jenny, because Jenny is obviously like frustrated. I could totally see myself being the Jenny in the situation where I'm like, can you just get it together? Like, we have a job to do. I also love when she's like, yeah, Jenny and I got the doctor. That's the same one that coined the term with Gwyneth Paltrow, conscious uncoupling. It is like this is a story about sickness mainly, but she finds a way to go a little Hollywood with it, right? Give the people what they want. It is like so many people I've been talking to like are only bringing up like Adam Driver's response at like Canes or whatever. Can? Fuck it. I don't know enough about the movies. I'm a TV girl. But him being like, no comment, I'm saving it for my memoir. First of all, she gave you your career. You're being a big bitch about that. How easy would it have been to be like, congrats on the book, girl. Anyways, I really related to Lena breaking down how guilty she felt about failing Jenny. And it wasn't so much this pressure of like, oh my God, I have to like do good and feel better for like the TV show. But she was like, I need to do this and like fix myself for Jenny, because Jenny has like invested so much in me, so much of like her important career years in like working together. Now, famously, one of Lena's biggest public scandals back in the 2010s was her siding with a man when a woman came out being like, this guy assaulted me. And she and Jenny released a public statement being like, that girl's a liar. Wow, it's actually so hard to solo podcast. It really is better when you get to talk to another person. But I'm talking to you. Okay, yes. I just took something because a girl on TikTok told me to. I think that's just the Mandela effect. Nope, wrong one. The placebo effect, nailed it. Honestly, it's like orange flavored in a way that I'm like, I could eat it as candy. That's probably really unsafe. Anyways, Lena is like drugged up, just came out of surgery. Jenny calls her and is like, we need to defend this man. And she's like, okay, yeah, let's put something out. And then, of course, that went really bad. And Lena does talk about like how much shame she carries with it, and she's like, it's the biggest regret of my life. She clearly recognizes her mistake. I know a lot of people are complaining like, oh well, she basically excused herself by saying she was drugged up, and I'm like, did she excuse herself or did she say, I was drugged up, that is what was happening, you can make your own conclusions? Also, Lena discussing like the tumultuous relationship between her and her brother because of like the Not That Kind of Girl chapter that everybody freaked out about. And Cyrus low-key disowning her and the rest of the family. It seems like they're in a better place now, but it seems like they've really had their highs and lows. Okay, I'm looking at the notes I took. I literally wrote Lena's first Facebook group was called Political Correctness is Totally Gay. Work it, girl. That's the kind of like line that should be put in that photo she has in the Hillary Clinton dress. Also, yeah, so she finishes season 6 of Girls basically like in a haze. A lot of her family members are randomly passing away. It was like so many plot lines that she was describing after Girls ended were plot lines in Girls. Is that just me? Like, especially when she goes to rehab. Like, how is she writing Jessa in rehab so good like that? And then she actually went to rehab after. Interesting. I did love her talking about rehab and that experience. I'll never forget this book I read in like 6th grade, and it was about this girl. If anybody knows the name of this book, please tell me what it is. I think the cover is like light blue, and then maybe it's just like a smiley face emoji or like a chair or something. But it's basically this girl who gets put, like, goes to a mental hospital, and it's just her talking about like the mental hospital. The way Lena describes the young girl that she's in rehab with and all the other characters is so, I need that to be the next show. Like, that is so interesting. It sucks that, like, she comes back from rehab, talks to Jenny, and immediately is like, Jenny, the characters. And Jenny's like, can you just actually, like, get rid of your benzo addiction? Because I can't with this. And I'm like, that is valid. But it's also like, Lena, write these notes down because I do want to watch a movie where it's the group dinner and you two go to the bathroom and then you get a demerit or written up for it. And the therapist the next day is like, the incident. That was awesome. Okay, and then she moves back into her parents' house and she fucks the guy from her childhood. And I like that she talks about this relationship with Nick. And she doesn't tell us what she didn't realize when she's talking about the early days. Because obviously, like, she's reflecting and she knows that he was like an alcoholic who literally did not have a home and was just like not in a good place. But she wrote the earlier chapters without us knowing that. So we got to envision Nick as she envisioned it. I thought that was so interesting. Like, she was writing it from a place of where she was at that time rather than starting with, well, this is how it ended. Let's rewind. She's like, no, let's follow the journey. Because then I felt what she felt when she realized he wasn't really telling the truth a lot, which was just like, oh, all this false hope. Because it is so nice when she like felt so sick and not connected to her body. And this nice man from her childhood was like, I'll fuck you back to life, girl. That is like a sweet sentiment, especially if she's in a haze from all these pain meds. Like, the fairy tale you could weave, especially as a writer, in that state, I can only imagine. Her casually bringing up that she actually cheated on Jack with Nick and not Jack cheating on her with the teen pop star, that shocked some people online. We need to acknowledge that. And then, of course, she details the treacherous end to her relationship with Jack, which I know why Lena and Taylor Swift are friends, okay? Because the way Lena is able to write about that breakup and the feelings around it, and her ability to explain that both of them were not getting along and all they were doing was fighting, but they both were like, to prove I'm a good person, we have to stay together. And like, they're both kind of miserable together in that they're like, we have to do this. And it's like, no one's making you. When they do break up and they like decide to have a meeting to discuss like what are next steps, and then she's like looking back and she's like, so cute that we think there's next steps, we're two childless 31-year-olds or whatever. That part of the book felt like sad Taylor Swift songs, or maybe she wrote it while listening to sad Taylor Swift songs. I could totally see that. um the day I'm recording this, Lena just turned 40 a couple days ago and was seen in New York City at a birthday dinner with Taylor Swift and Andrew Rannells and randomly Kendall Jenner. Slay. Or at least I think it was Kendall Jenner. The way Andrew Rannells posts Instagram stories is so charming to me. To be an elder millennial is just really powerful. Also, I was thinking about how Evan was complaining that like he wanted to hear Jenny's side or Jack's side, and I do think it's a testament of good writing that she fleshed out these characters so much that we're like, wait, we need their memoirs too. Like, Jack, please deliver. Jenny, please deliver. And I do think that's because it's like, well, she made the characters in her life so complicated. So, of course, we're intrigued. But the whole contract situation with Jenny, that seemed really intense. And then, like, Lena just really feeling lost career wise post Girls. She's like, everybody hates me. I can't walk. Like, I can't do anything. Hillary lost. Like, I feel so lost. I felt that. Jenny being like, you know what? You need to rent a summer home with me. And so they're in like wherever Ellen Pompey lives, near LA, in some house throwing awesome parties. Which shout out to Jenny. It sounds like she throws amazing events. I really wish Lena was in a place where that would have been fun for her. But of course, she had to just pay her part of that summer lease and actually move home and be alone. Now, her and Jenny going to couples counseling and then realizing, like, okay, it's over. That chapter of the book made me think of like when Lena was on the pod and 2 minutes into the interview, she's like, so do you and your co host ever have huge fights? Oh, I see where you're coming from on that. And obviously, there's a million more parts of the book I could go into, but I just want to close this out by asking y'all how you felt about any of the sections of the book. I also have seen a lot online this week about how much people think Lena doesn't realize how much her parents are maybe part of the problem, and she writes them as these like saviors or all knowing or like they're right, the rest of the world is wrong, when clearly like her parents and hers relationship is like maybe not the healthiest, or there's like a certain amount of enabling that's going on within the family dynamic. But personally, I think Lena obviously knows that, but this is just her reality, and she's like, well, this is the family dynamic and this is how we run. I'm sure it's crossed her mind that maybe, oh no, this isn't the perfect setup, but it is the setup. So we're gonna have to deal with that. But overall, second time listening, really, that girl is so good at writing. I've also, since launching the Substack, have been reading more Substacks. The girls are Hannah Horvathing in a huge way. I literally am loving it here. Substack is like if tweets got to be essays. And that's kind of nice in the age of AI when no one can write an essay anymore. These girls are still doing it, and they're really waxing poetic about like a meme mixed with like the Devil Wears Prada 2 commentary. It's a really beautiful space. I'm honored to be here. I'm very much new and have no idea what I'm doing. And I'm still really bad at recording these solo eps, but I hope to get better. I hope my stream of consciousness is fun for you. Actually, really quickly before I log off, I just want to say that I just finished editing this, like cutting all the weird pauses and stuff. And I have never seen a brunette woman do so much hairography in a solo podcast in my life. I am so sorry if you watched this video and said, is she going through something? Clearly I am. I don't know why I needed to keep grabbing it. I guess it's just like a nervous, like I wanted a prop. I should have had a stress ball. Next time, you know what? I'll get a fidget toy. That way the hair doesn't, it's like I just gotta blah blah. Why am I trying to ruin it? It's 11 p.m. I gotta make it count tomorrow. We're recording 2 episodes. Which, speaking of, as soon as I publish this, I will be watching 2 episodes of Sex and the City, which I'm randomly really loving that show. I know it's not random to anybody else, but I really thought, since I'm so Gen Z sex negative, that I would really have a hard time enjoying the show. But every single episode, I'm like, this is the most radical piece of media we have. It's obviously not, but like in the mainstream in 2001, I'm like, well, damn, Darren Star, go absolutely off. It is crazy watching how tiny all of their bodies are. The episode I just watched before this, they're like walking in the park, and I'm like, these little noodle queens. It's giving skinny talk. It's making me realize that skinny talk is actually something recycled from the past and is not something new. Side note on that, have you guys seen the recent videos of Meghan Trainor dancing? She's so skinny now, so her songs about loving and being in a bigger body are like totally reworked, which is just, I feel like we haven't had enough of the cultural moment of discussion surrounding this fact. Like, obviously it has been discussed, but I think it should be more at the forefront than it is right now. Okay, I'm actually just really quickly pulling it up because I want to read what the lyrics changed to. Okay, so this is amazing. Meghan Trainor changed the lyrics to All About That Bass from, yeah, it's pretty clear I ain't no size 2, to, yeah, it's pretty clear I got some new boobs. Right. She's taking the idea of body positivity and twisting it in a new direction, Glee Club style, which it's, you know what? Well, yes, Megan, get that gender affirming care. Also, Survivor 50 just ended, and it's making me look back at the early seasons. Every girl used to have a boob job. Like, 2002 was different. None of the girls in Sex and the City did, but like their friends probably did. You know what I mean? Anyways, that's a different podcast. I probably am not going to do another Famesick podcast, so I'll maybe do something more pop culture, less specific next time. But until then, see ya.